Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Threesome podcast. It's Lex and Stacey kicking it for you after a few weeks. Sorry. We were busy.
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And Halloween.
Uh-huh. And moving Lisa back in. But anyway.
Oh, what was that? Huh?
Oh, nothing.
She's home now, isn't she?
She is. A couple days ago.
Such a pussy.
I know.
But good. If you're happy, great.
I kick my own ass over it. I really do. But, you know, I do squarely lay a lot of the blame on her, and so does she, as one of the world's shittiest communicators. Because you know, I certainly got a nice piece of communication through email after she left that could have been said at home. You know, I thought, you know. Well,
you know, sometimes people need inspiration and or a muse to, you know, get the old writing juices flowing.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I just, I've quit really worrying about it. As long as the feelings got articulated, then great.
Well, here's hoping, because this seems to happen, every year and a half or so?
Oh, I think more like once a year on the average.
Okay, well then, great. Then I guess next holiday season you'll be having Christmas alone.
Yeah. But not really. No, I mean...
Any lonely bitch at Starbucks will do.
I got to tell you, you know, this time around, the thought of another bitch, was not super appealing. Just wasn't where I was, you know. I had other things on my mind that were more either material-based or career-based or whatever to put my time into, so to speak.
That is when you know that you have really just been beaten down entirely. Mm-hmm. When you no longer care.
Yeah, or you're still in love with the person and the prospect of starting something with somebody else doesn't appeal to you.
No, it's pretty much being beaten down.
Yeah, I think in my case I manage both.
He's beaten down by love.
No, I mean... No, I'm not beaten down by love. Love would be tremendous. I'm beaten down by people that don't behave like me.
It is a weird thing, isn't it?
I don't expect them to behave completely like me or even half like me, but there's got to be some me in there somewhere as far as the way you manage relationships.
Right. Because
I'm Mr. Upfront.
Yes, you are.
You know, and you ask me something, you want to know how I feel? Sure. Thanks for asking. And if it's in a very genuine ask type of thing, then I will, you know, in a very nice way explain why I feel the way I feel or where I'm coming from or whatever. If
like this, like Lex, how are you doing? How do you feel right now?
Well, besides that I'm talking to somebody very condescending, I feel great.
Woo-hoo. See?
Yeah.
You're so open and honest.
Yeah. But I you know, I get stuff off my chest, not right away. You know, I mean, I know everybody's got their quirks and everything, and I accept them, you know, until they're not quirks anymore, they become real things. You know, and then I have to say something.
Right.
And
I am well aware of this about you.
Yeah, and people usually respond well to that because I've learned in my older years to be cool about it. It's like, look,
it's all in the presentation. It really is. You can be a blunt person, but you don't have to be an asshole.
Yeah,
and I think people get blunt and asshole confused. confused sometimes.
Well, these people are like, I'm a bitch. I'll tell you exactly the way nobody likes that. Nobody cares for that at all. You're right. You are a bitch. Get out of here. And then there's the people that are kind of half that and half genuine about it, where you somewhat
and then you could just say, Lex, okay, this is going to be weird, and trust me, I really don't want to be the one to have to tell you, but it's been on my mind a lot, and when you do this, and I'll name some random thing, you really maybe should rethink doing that because of this reason right here. And I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. I'm not trying to, but it concerns me enough that I'm telling you. There, now go ahead and hate me.
Yeah, but if somebody tells you what you can do to solve the problem, that's wonderful. Most people do not do that, however. They leave the what you can do to fix it part out. They just...
I think, though, and I know what you're saying. I totally know what you're saying right there. But I also think that is where a lot of people then get pissy if you tell them, well, if you do this. Then it's like, so then this bitch had the gall to tell me what to do. Then it turns into that, and then that's where the pissiness comes from. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but if you're with somebody long enough, you know what the threshold is. You should know how to approach them.
In theory.
Yeah.
I'm kind of being more generic, like with just normal people, not necessarily ones that you've been
I don't give a fuck what normal people think. So that.
See, I do though.
The people in my life, that I got to wake up and see the next day, I do care how I treat them because,
right?
Obviously, their happiness is wired straight to mine. So, I try my best to be cool about stuff, but at the same time get my point across. I don't really care for something, or I don't like it, or
right,
what have you. But at the same time.
I have found, though, that those people are still also the ones, where I can say, could you just shut the fuck up for a second, please? Mm-hmm. Where I wouldn't say that to, the guy standing there on the street corner.
Right. Right.
So there's kind of that back and forth. I in some ways, am more polite, I guess, to people I don't know or barely know, as opposed to the people that I know really, really well, and then God help them.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I'm in a disagreement with somebody, at a store or parking lot or those ones you get into when, somebody is completely doing something to you with their head up their ass, like you're sitting there waiting for a parking spot and then they wheel around and pull right in front of it, while you're sitting there, that type of stuff.
Yes.
I am very apt with those people to blow a gasket. It's like, you saw me sitting there, don't pretend like you didn't. And I've done that to somebody before, and they've come up and said, oh my God, did you not see me sitting there waiting for that parking spot? And I would go, no, I'm sorry, I didn't, but were you? And they'll go, yeah. And it's like, well, here, I'll move, I'm sorry. I've done that every time. Never did I turn to them and go, fuck you, you were not, just suck my dick. Not one. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I'll be happy to move. I know how annoying that is. Sorry,
But back during the summer, my mom and I were in town, our little tiny small town, and we were at a store, and my mom was trying to pull out of the parking. Well, no, actually, she was pulling into a parking space and was just at a weird angle. So she was going really slow. And that's the thing that even got me, was that she was going slow. It wasn't like she was driving like an asshole, bat out of hell kind of thing. And this guy who was walking, he had come out of the store and was walking the parking lot, kind of gave her a little bit of attitude. And that just torqued me because it's my elderly mom, And so I just kind of gave him the finger and he went off. And I have never done this before. I just went off back. And my mom is just sitting there, both hands on the steering wheel. And the language, I'm just like, fuck you, cocksucker, And he's telling me what a fucking bitch I am, and we're just going back and forth. And then he just walks away and is like, you cunt. And then...
Oh, wow.
there's like that moment where I just like take that breath and then I go, I think you can finish pulling it now. And she didn't say a word. It was like, as soon as I said, we can pull in now, it was like, it was never mentioned again that there was just this huge screaming match right there. But I mean, I've never done that before, ever. But it was like, that's my mom. Why would you do that to my mom? She didn't do anything, and she was going slow.
And even if you weren't
in any
there,
imminent danger.
and even if you weren't there, it's somebody's mom. You know, it's a mom. It's an old lady. You know, she is not on your equal physical footing. She's so much farther along in life and vulnerable than you even can understand. Why would you talk to somebody like that?
Yes.
You know, yes, it's irritating. Yeah, it gets on your nerves a little bit. But if you just take a second and step back, then you usually go, okay. Yeah.
She did not warrant his first initial reaction. And yes, I flipped him off. That was my flipping off that got the big reaction out of him. Mm-hmm. But, you know, anyway, sorry. I've never told anyone that. And she and I certainly never mentioned it again. It's like it didn't happen. And she heard like pretty much every word in my repertoire yelled at the top of my lungs.
Yeah, I was at the grocery store one day, and there were two people on the cereal box aisle with me. And this lady put 3 or 4 cereals in her cart, and then she went across the way to get like something else. And this other guy had like 2 kids with him. And one of his kids goes into her cart and starts picking up boxes and throwing them back down into the cart.
Yeah.
And I went, hey, don't do that. You know, I said, those are her groceries. And he looked up at me and he went, so? I went, so they're not yours. So put them the fuck down. And his dad heard me. He goes, I'm sorry, do you have something to say to my son? I said, you mean your son that's throwing this poor woman's cereal boxes into the bottom of the cart? That son? He goes, what are you doing, Joey? I said, I just told you. I said, and then he gave me attitude about it. I just told him maybe he shouldn't do it in her cart. Maybe go back to yours and throw stuff down. Are we all in agreement? And he just looked at me. He's like, yeah, Joey, come here. He goes, you didn't have to swear at him. I went, yeah, I know, I'm sorry. And then smiled as I walked down the aisle. I so had to swear at him. With my Tony Soprano look on my face. Like, you little fucking piece of shit.
I really think, even though I just think everyone should swear at everyone else's kids when deserved, not just in general, but I think that because there's such a lack of parenting from most people these days, that it's totally within your right to turn around and say, you're a little piece of shit. Shut the fuck up. I hate you. And I don't even know you. Go away.
I remember in my circle of friends, which, you know, we had a group of parents that hung out too. It was nothing for another dad, you know, if we were all doing something to go, hey, knock it the fuck off, all of you. And the other parents would just be sitting there drinking their cocktail like, you know, it was totally okay for him to handle that. These days, you don't see that anymore.
Bill Burr, whom I am so totally in love with. Oh, my God. His anger touches me. He back like just before Thanksgiving, like sometime maybe in October. I think he was on Conan. He's usually really good at like I actually don't like his stand up quite as much as I like his interviews, like with Conan and stuff, because he's so angry. And he talked about that, like about being at like his kid's birthday party or another kid's birthday party that his kid was there, and like watching kids throw rocks on someone's car. And he's like, you know, stop it. But then, like, the parents getting pissy because he dared to raise his voice and give tone to their children who was throwing things at someone's vehicle, you know.
Yeah. You know, on that horse show circuit and everything, I used to discipline other people's kids like crazy.
Good.
Like, put that
And you
down.
don't want that to happen.
Put that
Discipline
down.
your
That's
own
not
kid.
yours. Put that down. It's not yours. Hey, you. Get out of here. Who are you anyway? What are you doing here? Stuff like that.
Should your fingers be there?
Like, Sam, your dad's mean. She goes,
Yes.
She goes,
yes, he is.
She goes, he just doesn't like you messing with our stuff. I said, take our stuff out of there, and it's still true. We still don't like, he just doesn't like you.
He does, in fact, think you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Everything he said it to you, he means it.
I used to wear I hate other people's kids shirts to the horse shows.
Nice. That's kind of awesome.
And have a dozen people come up to me and go, where'd you get that? Oh, I didn't get it.
True.
I made it myself. Here's the website. Make it in every color. I did. I just can't. I can't stand to watch parenting these days. It's so hard to watch. Just going out somewhere. I remember going out with this one guy and his two daughters. Sam was the same age they were, and we're at Dave and Buster's, and his kids are like turning around and watching the people behind us eat and talking to them over the top of the booth and everything. And this went on for like 3 minutes, and I went, hey, sit down. And the girl turns to her dad and she goes, do I have to sit down? And I went, oh, now you really have to sit down.
You little twat.
Yeah. And I said, tell your fucking kid.
And you
to
don't know
sit
what a
down.
twat it is?
Yeah.
Ask your mom.
I said, tell your fucking kid to sit down. Seriously. Because we're leaving if she doesn't. I'm not gonna let my kid watch your kid be an asshole.
And I think it's because of my hair, because I've always had like the really long hair and stuff. It just seems to me that in the course of my adult life, I have had my hair pulled. And I don't mean just even like a little tug. I mean like where it hurt and I felt it for several minutes after the fact. Mm-hmm. My hair pulled by people's kids that I don't know, like, at the mall kind of thing.
Right.
Like and not even like, I would even understand if it was like a toddler and like, oh, look at the hair. I've never seen hair like that. I'm going to touch it and grab it and fall. And all of my weight, something like that I get. But these were like, like older kids who know better. And it hurt. That's the thing too. It's like physical pain. It fucking hurt my head. Why are you pulling my hair? You don't know me. Get the fuck away from me, you little asshole.
Yeah, it's like, you out of your fucking mind?
It's happened, I'm going to say, like at least five times as an adult. At like weird places, like restaurants, like, oh, if you're in a booth and there's a little kid in the booth behind me and parents aren't like keeping them from like getting up on their knees and stuff, I guarantee you I will get my hair pulled because they just can't help themselves.
Mm-hmm. I know.
You're lucky. You don't have to worry about that. But they might like drag their nails across your scalp or something.
Oh no! I mean, the bald thing with the beard has really helped as far as scaring the fuck out of kids.
You're so lucky. You really are.
I mean, and when we had horse shows and stuff, I let extra stubble grow and, made sure I busted out all the Harley shirts and all that stuff, even though I didn't ride anymore. Yeah.
Nothing says equestrian.
Yeah, my whole
like
wardrobe. Yeah, my whole wardrobe was "Don't fuck with me."
He's the bad dad.
I just hated it so much, and it's like Sam was never any of those kids. She never was a destructive kid or let's see what happens when you do this. She was just never that fucking kid. And right. there were other kids that were the same way she was, so, thank God she found them and hung out with them as opposed to what could have happened.
Right.
Because, it used to drive me crazy. It's like, where Where on God's earth do you think that's okay, you schmuck? I used to call them all kinds of names before their parents would come over.
Get
off the fence, dick face. What? Say what? What?
My cousin's kid, and I guess maybe I don't know. I don't think anyone in my family listens. And anyway, she when her grandmother was still alive, she was not minding her grandma, and I was there helping with her grandma, like, actually being like a caretaker. And grandma was bound in her chair, not tied up, but like couldn't get out of her chair. She wasn't mobile, and there was a storm coming, and wind had blown like little chairs off of her porch in the back.
Right.
And she had said, "Hey, could you go out and get the chairs?" And the child, who was in her teens, so we're not talking like little kid,
right,
is staring at her phone and says, "Just a minute." And I turned around, and I have wondered if I should like feel bad about it. I just turned around and I said, "Do not disobey your grandmother. Get out there and get her right now." And then she just like turned around and looked at me and like ran outside, and then she got the chairs and then sat in the chairs and pouted. She was, and I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, I just turned into my mother. That is like the most momish thing I've ever done in my life. And I turned and looked at her grandma, and I just kind of like gave her like a little face, like, "I'm sorry." But she didn't say anything. I don't think she was super happy at me for like yelling at her, but she didn't say anything to me either. And, I was just like,
she loved it. Are you kidding me?
I hope so. She's not with us anymore, but,
I hope you told the kid that she killed her. She's not with us anymore. Of course, you'd know something about that, wouldn't you? Because it was your behavior that sent her away.
Can I tell you, I'm going to try to do this. I'll do this quickly so I don't get emotional. As her grandma was dying last weekend, that she was alive, and I was helping perform hospice for her and stuff. And we had like a few minutes alone. Everyone else had gone to go like do some stuff, and so I was just sitting there holding her hand, and she was awake and alert and stuff. And she said, "Am I going to die?" And I just kind of said, "I don't know."
Yeah.
I didn't want to say, "No, everything's going to be fine." I'm not going to be that person.
Am I going to win Miss America?
No. But you are so going to die.
That's what you should have told her.
Well, and then she said, and this was probably the most tragic thing, the sweetest, heartbreaking thing anyone will ever say to me. She like just kind of, I'm still holding her hand, and I said, "I don't know." And she turned and she just kind of looked out the window. She's laying there in her little bed, and she says, "I just want to play with my children again." How is that for just like, what?
That wasn't like, a metaphor for I want to touch my boobs or anything.
Oh, my God. Well, I don't know, but I sure did.
Atta girl.
Woohoo.
Knew somebody would take the dark joke here. Old people can make me so fucking sad.
You mean like Bob Dole?
That was sad. But it was still
beyond sad.
But it was still Bob Dole.
It was Bob Dole. And, I actually sat there, I was looking at him going, other than obviously being elderly, boy, he still looks like Bob Dole, but looks nothing like Bob Dole. It was strange. But that was like big ugly cry. That like brought me to like loud sobbing tears for like 60 seconds. I was just like, holy shit, that's like powerful stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because, the thing that really got me was him knowing the difficulty in which it was going to be to stand up, and him knowing that the cameras were going to be on him, and him knowing that at that moment he is going to look like an incredibly infirm old man. And he still did it. Like, he pushed past any potential like personal humiliation, and he paid like this huge respect to Mr. Bush.
But is it humiliating or is it heroic?
Well, I think that it was a personal sacrifice, so it's heroic.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure he would have preferred to not do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not the saluting. I'm sure he wished he could have done it as a young man, with all of his body working correctly.
My biggest fear is the day like Sam sees I can't do something. And it's probably not far away, from a physical standpoint or being able to lift something or, just do things normal everyday people do. And that's my biggest fear is the day she sees that. And I don't know why.
She's your child. She is well equipped for this.
Yeah, I know.
For this moment, because of her maturity and her love for you and all of that stuff. And I think that she will also probably be the one to be able to give you the perfect smart-ass comment that will both like let you know that it's okay that she saw and it's all good, and she made you laugh. And so it's all good.
Yeah, I know. I know it'll be all good. I just gonna hate when it happens.
I understand.
Yeah,
I do.
I had a whole, when I was doing therapy sessions, I had a whole talk with, one of the sessions about that is not wanting people to see my vulnerabilities, and she goes, well, that's a pretty normal thing, actually, for somebody like you, somebody in the public eye, somebody that's used to being front and center. You're probably has been a fear of yours from the get-go, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I said not like this. This is different. This is like something that can't be fixed. It means once I do this, it's going to be the way it is from here on out. Once she sees I can't do a certain thing, it's probably going to mean I can't do that anymore.
Right.
Whatever it is, it could be a medial task.
No coming back from that.
Yeah, there's no coming back from that, and that's different than screwing up on stage on a radio thing or on the air. That's
or shitting yourself on a golf course.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's stuff I do every day.
I'm sorry, it wasn't the golf course. It was the ravine with all the houses behind it.
Oh no, I did on the golf course too. The day started.
Oh my God.
The day started out on the first hole. They're like, "Get out there! The tournament's starting and all that." And I'm looking for the bathroom. I'm like, "Well, I got to use the bathroom." And it's like, "No, get out there!" So I'm like, "Oh God!" So we drive out and we're teeing off on the 10th hole. Because it's one of those round robin things.
Scramble,
and we get halfway out on the 10th hole, and there's some woods around the corner, and I told Terry, I said, I can't wait any longer. So I go into these very sharp prawn fawns things or whatever, and I just let loose. and I had the runs through the whole day, and I made it past that one. Then, like on the 6th hole, there was actually a bathroom, so I got to use it. And then we went past the turn, and I was feeling okay. And that's when the ravine thing happened. We got up on the top of that hill, and I'm like, "Oh no!"
I'm not, because I feel your pain.
Yeah.
I would just belly crawl through the tall grass away and never be seen again. That would be my shame and humiliation. I would just be like, "Nope, can't do this. Goodbye. It was nice knowing you all. I'm moving out of state."
Well, that's when I got over and found the hill thing, and there was like trees and branches and stuff sticking out. So I'm like, okay, so I go down there and I grab this branch and I undo my pants, and then I pull my feet up on like I'm climbing a mountain and cut loose. And Terry can just see the top of my eyes, and we're laughing.
He's like watching you shit.
Yeah. So So I let my legs loose from the side of the hill, and I'm still hanging onto this thing, so I can pull my pants up, and I have my golf towel with me so I can take care of biz back there. And I turn around, and there's this house with this big bay window, and a kid looking out the window, and there's like smoke billowing out of the chimney and all this stuff, and. And I'm like, oh shit,
Mommy.
So, I mean, if his parents didn't give the shit rolls downhill lesson at that point, I don't know when they'll have a better opportunity. So I got up on the level thing up there, and I threw the towel like kind of behind the tree type of thing, and. We get down to the bottom of the hill, and Terry goes, hey, my partner lost his golf towel, and he gives her $20 and says, will you go find it? It's like up at the top of the hill. And
that's such a dick move. Yeah. That is a dick, terrible, rotten, awful move.
And I went, here's $20 if you don't.
What an asshole.
So she takes his, and then I said, here's $20 if you don't. And so he looks at her. I said, you gonna take your $20 back from her? He goes, no. He goes, go ahead and go find it. And I said, oh, no, don't. I gave her another 20. I said, really don't. She ended up like it was $60 or $80 or something like that. Ended up not going to.
Good. That's a big, fat dick move.
Oh, no, that's just guy stuff.
I'm sorry, guy stuff is a dick move. That's pretty shitty, pardon the pun.
Yeah, it's something I would have done, though. Got to be.
Well, that would have made you a dick, too. And yeah. I hope not, Lex.
Yeah, that's something I would have done.
You're better than that.
I'm not better than that. Not when it comes to us. In my
mind and in my esteem, you are better than that. That isn't like you doing it to a chick. That's just doing it to an underling, like just here, that's just dick. Pure dick.
Who do you think he's being a dick to, me or her?
Her.
Yeah, okay, good. I was about to say, because this is very normal guy stuff.
No, I get that part.
Okay.
It was her that the dick move was being done to. Yeah. I wasn't indignant for you and your towel. I was indignant for like sending this poor girl off for $20 too. That makes it even more demeaning.
Well, it's just right up the hill. I mean, it was an easy $20.
But there's shit on the towel. That's the thing. You're missing, I think, the point. Just be quiet about this because it's making it worse. Please. That's a dick move. That is a terrible, rotten, awful dick move. And I hope that is something that shows up at the gates of hell when he's died and it's his reckoning time.
Oh, come on.
Just saying.
It's very
Maybe
funny.
God will say, here, Terry, here's $20. See what you can pick up before I'll let you in.
Nah, listen, it's stuff we do to each other all the time.
But it's not to you. It's to that poor girl.
Yeah,
or
she was never going to go
any
up
lesser
there,
person.
It was the whole diatribe was between the three of us right there. She was never going to go up there and find that thing. Being the hot chick that she was just going to get in her cart and take her $60 and leave. The whole thing was the one-upsmanship between me and him in front of everybody else.
Okay. And if she had left to go get it, would you have stopped her?
But I was paying her to stop her, yes. Him, I don't know.
Just saying. Again, I don't care what you two do to each other. Punch each other in the balls every day. I don't care.
It's like, God, take the fun out of Christmas, Stacey. Jesus.
Well, yeah. That's, again, if she had gone looking for it and, like, you guys used to do poo dollar. You understand. She goes to touch that towel, and you know what atrocities you've just committed right there with the towel.
Not on purpose.
Well, no, I know that, but it still happened. Fukushima wasn't on purpose, but it still happened.
God. I'm thinking it's so serious.
Because I'm at that age in my life. It's just rude to people. Not to you two. I get the guy thing. I get that. Yeah. But for her, that's like just rude. And, she goes home and is like, just more of these rich assholes thinking that they're like being funny and stuff, That's what like the little people think of you guys. Not you guys, but like the collective rich assholes who do shit like that.
Yeah. Collective rich assholes.
Yes.
But it was a good time. It was a
It was. I'm sure that again, because I remember Terry telling that story like after, like the Monday after it happened, and like him telling about like your head and your eyes poking over the grass.
And we're laughing, right? When like poop falling.
I can
out
hear
of me
you
as we're laughing. It's just like falling out of me. I'm like, oh God, it's good times.
And I do feel your pain in that. Again, I would have crawled away, and you would never have seen or heard from me again, ever.
Yeah,
ever.
It was not a good time at all.
I get traumatized at the idea of having to even poo in the safety of a public bathroom, like where you're supposed to poo, but like the other people might be around.
Oh, I had to go.
I am totally one of those people that will hold it unless it's like, emergency until like after work, that kind of thing, or go home at lunch.
Yeah, I had to go at a grocery store the other day, and it was so disgusting. I just couldn't do it.
Oh, if it's an emergency, like what you did outside, like I'm sure you would have soldiered through it, but
yeah, it was pretty disgusting, I got to say.
The closest I ever came, well, the two things, when I was in Mexico, when I was in Cancun years and years and years ago, I had made it the whole vacation without getting the water. And that last morning, I'm guessing something in breakfast had touched the water or something. And of course, it's like, as we're heading on the plane to like go to Miami, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Please. Like my whole focus, I didn't think about anything else on that trip, that flight home, except just like, please, I'm not going to do this in the airplane toilet. Please. And we land at Miami for the layover. And this is like one of the few things in my life that will like prove to me that there might be a God. There was one entire wing of like a terminal that was closed, but like not blocked off. Like the lights were off and they weren't using it. Uh-huh. And there was like a bathroom like a little ways down into it. And I like walked into that bathroom and flipped the light on and like used it twice while I was waiting for the flight back to Michigan. And it was like I got to just like do that in private. It was so lucky.
You poor thing.
Because I would have died like having. No, I'm not poor. I was luck. That was sheer, pure pooping luck. That nobody had to hear that or experience it.
Yes. Yeah, it's not a fun time at all to deal with shit like that.
And then was it you or was it Terry who was using the bathroom at a bar remote and the person was climbing up on the wall looking over at you?
That was Terry. Oh. Yeah, wanting to, hey, see Terry from Lex and Terry take a shit.
I would be furious.
Yeah, he wasn't happy.
I would be furious.
Hey, once again, it's a guy thing. It happens.
But that's a stranger. That's like a total stranger. I'd be like, get the fuck back.
I know, man. I know it's hard to fathom, that somebody would want to see something like that, but they do. It's crazy.
So Bob Dole, back to him, since we've been sidetracked from like everything today. It was very sweet. That was like one of the more touching things I've seen in my lifetime, I think, in like American politics.
Yeah, Bob's cool. You know, at this juncture of his life, he's cool.
And you know what else I love? I'm not going to turn this into a rant, but the thing I love most about everything, all of the news coverage that I've been seeing about President Bush and his passing was all the different ways that they have used everything he's ever said to get little digs in at Trump. Like, anything that he's ever said about there needing to be like, ethics and morals and truth and everything that's good and righteous in this world, in the presidency, that all of that shit's getting played over and over again just to
I know
get little digs in at our current president.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like that.
I don't know who's for who at this point. As far as these parties go, I don't know who's supporting who anymore.
Things are weird.
Yeah,
it's a weird time, and I'm really right now like on the edge of my seat with the whole Mueller thing. It seems like, does it not feel like right now? It seems really close. Like they're just going to surprise us, and like tomorrow, it's going to be he releases everything, and there's like police showing up like all over Washington.
I expect something like that to happen over Christmas vacation. Yes.
You think Christmas? That'd be a shitty like timing wise, or just because the lack of news cycle type stuff.
Yes. Something to either suppress it or to highlight it is going to happen over the Christmas holidays.
I hope so.
But anyway,
God, I hope so.
Yeah, I know you do. Anyway, we need to cut it short here, Stacey.
Are they back already?
I have other obligations. So,
hi.
This is where I make myself sound important. But thank you for doing the podcast early today. I appreciate it.
I love my Lexi time.
Yeah. Well, we'll have some more Lexi time in a few days. Let's make sure we keep doing this. All right.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I would. So that wraps number 145. Good Get Our Feet Wet Again podcast, Stacey. And next time, we may just have something to talk about in regard to what we just were. So I am looking forward to that. So. Yeah, me too. And we will go ahead and, jump all over it if it does. In the meantime, we'll see you next time on the Threesome Podcast. Bye.
Bye.